light 'em up in the ring, light 'em up, shoot, shine, do your thing, light 'em up in the ring, light 'em up, shoot, shine, do your thing, light 'em up, go dumb, go stupid, yeah, we undefeated, sucker free, we got the seats heated, let's face it, you bout to get a beat down, less talking, let's take it to the streets now, ain't gonna be no rematch, why you wanna fight, touchdown on sight, yeah, turn off the light, oh, turn off the light, let's get it poppin', go dumb. When you see me moving, bodies dropping. Move some. I'm about to go sick, call Earl. I'm turning up like E40, not your average girl. I'm turning up. We can rock like Rocky, make you tap it. Ghost ride the whip, look at my drip. This ain't a copy. We got all night if you wanna throw hands. When they see me fight, they wanna throw bands. Go dumb, go stupid, yeah, we undefeated. Sucker free, we got the seats heated. Light 'em up in the ring, light 'em up, shoot, shine, do your thing. Light 'em up in the ring, light 'em up, shoot, shine, do your thing. Light 'em up.
It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you for another episode of the Shoe Shine Podcast. Now, as you know, joining me always, he'll be here any second. My co-host all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Drew Evil will be in the Bills. Now, you guys know that the East Coast had an incredible heat wave. Their heat waves are a lot different than the ones I'm experiencing for 90 days straight in Las Vegas. These past 3 days in Las Vegas have been a blessing. 90-something degrees in June. But if you're coming to Vegas, it's going to be 110 by next week. So if you're here, enjoy the nice weather, but it's going to skyrocket. Meanwhile, Drew's been dealing with a busted air conditioning system and high humidity. And I feel for everybody on the East Coast because not only do you guys get high temps, but you get that nasty high humidity. He says he'll be here in just a second. We may get to see Drew Evo's new gaming laptop, and he'll be using his microphone that he used to use, which is a really nice mic, and his webcam. So hopefully it's gonna look and sound great. Drew will be just joining us shortly. Saludos. I appreciate you, Wile E. Coyote. I know, guys, that there's a million other things on YouTube that you could be watching, but you're sitting here either watching us live or watching us in the replay, and let you know, guys, that we appreciate it so much. I'm gonna crack open a nice cold beer right now while I wait for Drew, and we're gonna get to some boxing talk. Now, as for the Shoe Shine, you guys are wondering maybe why haven't I been on regularly Monday? To be honest, guys, I'll be honest with you, it's been very difficult to come back to YouTube 2-3 times a week. The joy of being online on social media, the joy of doing this podcast has kind of been stripped away from me from, a variety of things. One of them being this tragic incident that happened in Las Vegas, which personally affected me because I knew the people involved. So I'm trying my best, guys. I'm trying my best to get back into the groove of things. This is going to be a very exciting summer. We have a crossover fight, right? We got one of these fights where everybody's going to be talking about it because it involves Jake Paul, a social media star, a YouTube star, just somebody who's done it all. And he's going to be fighting the son of legendary fighter, Mexican fighter, of course, Julio Cesar Chavez. We're talking about his son, Chavez Jr., who had a lengthy professional career, was a middleweight champion, had some outstanding wins early in his career against the likes of real boxers like Andy Lee. He had an incredible fight with Sergio Maravilla Martinez, one of my favorite middleweight champions of the past 20 years. A fight where I'm going to take a look at it with Drew when he comes on here. We'll look at that fight because the key to victory for 39-year-old Julio Cesar Chavez is going to be looking back at his some of his best career performances, the likes of including Andy Lee, a victory there. One where he nearly knocked out after losing every round and being schooled by Sergio Maravilla Martinez, pulled off the gutsiest 12th round one of the best ones I've ever seen, to rally behind and nearly knock out the champion Sergio Maravilla Martinez. Are we going to see that version of Cesar Chavez Jr. at 39 years old this Saturday against a very young Jake Paul? Are we going to see that, or what are we going to see? We're going to talk about that when Drew comes up. Right now, I'm going to get off to some news. Appreciate Wile E. Coyote being here. Yeah, I got thrown off. Yeah, that is a song that I had recorded a while back. I had an artist from LA record that. But the funny thing about that song, guys, is I played it last week. My wife's been asking me, to switch things up. Obviously, the show needs to be retooled, reinvent myself. So I figured, why not bring that song out? But it turns out the girl sold me the song. She did the work, and she gives me a song with a beat that was not hers. So the backing track to that rap, even though I thought she nailed the rap, she didn't own the rights to that beat. So every time I play it, I get a copyright warning, but it's not a copyright strike. But still, nonetheless, like I'm not going to put her name out there because I think she did a great job. But to sell me something, a product that didn't even belong to hers, not the lyrics, but the beat. Yeah, she told me, oh, she didn't know. It's common in the end, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Shout out to everybody out there. I'm going to enjoy a cold beer. Well, I wait for Drew. Hopefully Drew's coming on here quickly. He said his new laptop is updating. Yeah, wouldn't you know that? It's updating. So hopefully we'll get him on quickly here. All right, my show's backdrop already off. We'll turn that off really quickly. Wiley says, I hate to say it, but I think Jake Paul is going to win. And, you're no stranger to that. Let me make sure everybody fits here. I want to make these comments fit nicely. You're not alone in your thinking, because I just checked the DraftKings odds, and you're absolutely right that most people are thinking that Jake Paul is going to win. And there's two schools of thoughts, guys. There's one school of thought where, boxing is a young man's sport, and it always has been a young man's sport. Father Time is nearly undefeated. We've had rare exceptions like George Foreman win a world championship in his mid-40s. If you ever saw the movie on George Foreman, he comes back out of retirement and wins the heavyweight title in his mid-40s, which is remarkable, unheard of, uncanny, whatever you want to describe it. Boxing is a young man's sport. Sure, Julio Cesar Chavez has tons of experience, but if you were watching the open workouts, I think they just finished the open workouts. I've been watching a lot of tape on Julio Cesar Chavez this week, and he's training with a great trainer. Shout out to Capetillo's Gym of Las Vegas. Capetillo's Gym, a place where Canelo Alvarez, when he's in town, he loves to work out at Capetillo. Capetillo's responsible right now for the training of future prospect stars like Emiliano Vargas of Top Rank. Emiliano Vargas, the son of Fernando Vargas, who his dad could be the head trainer, but hey, Capetillo seems to be the leading role there. Lots of top talent work out there at Capetillo. And Wally Coyote's asking, what this is going to be at Cruiserweight. If you guys remember that big Netflix special, one of the most watched boxing events ever on Netflix, I think, Jake Paul was somewhere around 230 pounds. And the accusations have been flying, especially from Julio Cesar Chavez, that this week they did the face-off. It's available on YouTube, on DAZN Boxing, the face-off. I have to say, guys, I am a big fan of this comedian, YouTuber, Donos, Southern California, Chicano, who is taking his YouTube presence and turned it into a comedy career. He travels. I don't know why Dono's World was invited to be an interpreter. No disrespect, but he can barely interpret. And Julio Cesar Chavez's English is pretty good. I'm pretty sure that Jake Paul, who lives in Puerto Rico, could fully understand. I don't think there was a need. But it seems that, to attract young people into the sport of boxing, again, this is a crossover fight. The main card, the main event is kind of one of these crossover events. I'm sure there's going to be every influencer in the Los Angeles area is going to be invited with complimentary seats to see the ringside action. I don't think it was necessary, but again, I'm kind of an older person. I'm in my mid-40s. Wiley says Paul looks about 210. They did work out just now, and the weigh-in is on Friday, and it's very typical in the last 3 days. Today's Wednesday. It's very typical and easy for most fighters to drop that 10 pounds. So he may very well be exactly around 210 today, and drop 10 pounds of water by Friday morning. California State Athletic Commission, they'll be weighing in the morning and then do a ceremonial open workout in Anaheim, I believe is where the fight location is going to be. Should weigh 200 pounds. Again, there's no title on the line for this, but it really matters to Jake Paul that he wins this fight, because the co-main event is going to feature a unified cruiserweight title fight between cruiserweight champion of Mexico. Okay, we have Ramirez versus Dorticos for 2 belts. Ramirez, a former 168-pound fighter, will be defending his 2 titles. And he's open to fighting, he said it today, he is open to fighting Jake Paul. Shout out to Big Spooky, appreciate you. Good to see you in the chat, guys. I know it is slow. There's a lot of things going on YouTube right now at the moment. Maybe this isn't the best time slot, and a lot of you guys don't know that we're not on regularly Wednesday, so I appreciate you guys if you're scrolling and you found us. Got a text message from Drew that he's about to join us, which is great. Wanted to run through a couple of things that happened this weekend. On my right-hand side, as Drew gets ready to join us, this little Mexican dude from Mexico, Francisco Rodriguez, went to the UK to fight Galal Yafai, an Olympic medalist that is matchroom boxing. Goes over to the UK. Now, I mentioned to you guys, I gave a prediction. Me and Drew on the last show last Thursday gave a prediction. We both thought he would pull off an upset. He beat the shit out of Galal Yafai starting in round 1, and it's a miracle Galal Yafai made it to the final bell. He was coming up in weight to fight Galal Yafai. This Mexican fighter, 40 wins. Let me just make sure I got this right. 40 wins, 6 losses now. He's fought the very best Japanese fighters. Ioka, a future Hall of Famer, multiple world champions in multiple divisions. He's also fought Nakatani. Nakatani is probably, with Inoue, one of the top Japanese boxers in the world, and one of the few people to go the distance with Nakatani. That experience alone, to me, said Galal Yafai doesn't know what he's going to... I mean, I get it. You know, he's an Olympian, but there's been many Olympians that have been beat by world-class Mexican fighters who have tremendous amounts of professional experience. Still waiting for Drew to join us. He said he is. Hopefully his laptop is working. That fight happened Saturday afternoon. It was an entertaining fight to watch. I don't know where Galal Yafai, who takes his first loss, this is kind of one of those losses that, man, you have to rebuild your career because the loss was so bad in terms of all the physical damage that Galal Yafai took. Also, people are starting to question whether or not Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing is properly matchmaking some of his top elite talents, man. This is starting to become a pattern where some of his top contenders, people that he's trying to bring up to be champions, he puts them in against extremely dangerous opponents where Matchroom, he's committed to his fighters to make sure that they, you know, every promoter has their fighters' best interests. And in this case, it backfired. Drew's joining us, guys. Let me bring him to the stage quickly. What's good, Drew? Oh, let me see what I did wrong here. Let me remove this one here. Can you hear me, Drew?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, let me assign you to guess spot number 1. There we go. All right, man, we got Drew in the building. Appreciate you, Drew. You got the new mic on? Yeah, I mean the older mic?
Yeah.
Yeah, see if you could turn up the gain just a bit on that, and I'll drop my volume a bit too. All right.
All right.
Might be just a little too loud, but little drop that bit. Okay, now you're gonna set back. All right, cool, man. I think we're good here, guys. Drew's got his old microphone down. We got the setup here. I'm going to adjust his lights. But, Drew, I was just talking about Galal Yafai getting his ass whooped on Saturday afternoon. And is Eddie Hearn doing what's best for his fighters? I mean, it seems like he's matching them up, overly matching them up, right?
Well, tell you the truth, it's probably just a bad night in the office. At the end of the day, if you look at it like this, you don't want to wait too long to match him up with somebody. And it's just shit goes to fan because you waited too long and everything. But end of the day, it's a loss, and like a lot of fighters do not finish undefeated. So it's something that you can debate on it, but it's just how it is.
Well, I hope he recovers and he learns from this lesson. Now, for the Mexican fighter who went all the way over to the UK, he's now the WBC flyweight champ, mandatory to Kenshiro Teraji. And Drew, I already mentioned that this guy has fought Ioka and he's fought Junto Nakatani. So I'm sure he can't wait to get his hands on a title opportunity. The other fight that happened over the weekend was a fight not too far from you in Jersey. It featured Top Rank's Vito Melnicki, who used to fight for PBC. He was at the top of the card. And he fought an older Polish guy, Drew. And the one thing that I was completely shocked by was the fact that Paulie Malignaggi was calling the fight. I'm like, when did Paulie get a job with Top Rank? And Christina Poncher, who works there. Drew, I didn't see any with Tim Bradley. I didn't see Osuna. I didn't see anybody that normally works for Top Rank. The next thing I noticed was that the ring looked like a toy ring. Now, they've been talking about making the ring smaller for fights coming up. Turki Alalshikh was debating whether or not he should go with an 18 by 18 ring. This ring looked like it was 14 by 14. It was ridiculous. The quality of the show was awful. It felt like a club show. I did see a tweet put out by someone that worked for Top Rank, I believe, and the tweet said that Top Rank was not the head promoter, which is why things didn't look the way they typically look. But I'm scratching my head. I know Top Rank has just a couple shows left. They've got that big show coming up in New York featuring Xander Zayas going for his first world title. And I'm like, is this the budget? Is this what we're going to see from Top Rank up until the end of July when they disappear from ESPN? I certainly hope not. It was nice to have Paulie on the mic, but again, it just looked the sound was off, the cameras were off, the ring looked off. It looked like a club show. As far as Vito, did you see anything from Vito you liked?
Yeah and no. Like, it's just, I gotta see more. Gotta see more coming. And like, the call was a shit show. The whole production was a shit show. I just didn't care for it too much at the end of the day. So, it was like, why the hell did I even bother with it? So, if we're looking at shit like that, I think, they don't, for some reason, Top Rank wasn't the head promoter of the card. Why was it on ESPN then? Like, that's what I don't get.
Man, I don't get it either, Drew. It wasn't a great show, like I said, but for Vito Melnicki beating up a guy that's 10 years older than him, he didn't even really beat the guy up. It just wasn't a performance that left me thinking that he's going to be a middleweight champion at the moment. I think he still has a lot to learn. It was an okay performance, one where he did what he was going to have to do, but not anything that's going to make him stand out from the 160-pound division to say, we got a future star developing here. Jahi Tucker on the undercard, that guy impressed me, even more so than Vito. So I will be keeping my eye on that fighter, Jahi Tucker. I think I got his name right. A lot of people high on him. I thought that was actually a very interesting fight, even though the scorecards didn't say so. I thought the fight was interesting, to say the least. And Jahi Tucker is somebody I'm going to be keeping my eyes on.
Yeah.
All right, Drew. Let's talk about some news real quick, guys. I know you guys are wondering. Hopefully, we're going to get some more people in. We've changed the format. We've gone away from vertical. Hopefully, it's going to bring in the true boxing fans in our community for some straight boxing talk for at least an hour, a couple times a week. The numbers might look a little off because, again, vertical streaming invites a lot of trolls and it invites a lot of people that are just swiping up and down. So we've gone back to the old ways. Stay rocking with us. We appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like because it lets other people know that we're on. It makes the recommended. It puts us on into the feed, the recommendation feeds. Some very, very interesting news. We've got some breaking news. Let's start with the breaking news, Drew. Brian Norman Jr., who had an incredible performance in Japan last Wednesday, has agreed to a verbal agreement with Devin Go-to-Sleep Haney. No, excuse me. That's not his nickname. With Devin Haney. The WBO this morning, I was reading, gave the green light. They said, hey, if Devin Haney wants to come up to the full welterweight limit, he's been fighting at a catchweight, we'll give you an exemption. You don't need to defend your title against somebody mandatory or somebody that is not well known. We will allow you to fight Devin Haney. And because of that, they have come up with a verbal agreement, which really don't mean shit, but it means that they're moving in the right direction for a fight later this year. What is your immediate reaction, Drew? Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr.?
It's going to be a boring fight. Like, I just don't care too much for it. It's probably going to be something that Brian Norman might price himself out again. And I think and that's the thing. I think Brian Norman's dad's got to stop overpricing his son. That's first and foremost. Like seriously, the Giovanni Santine fight you made $290K. The fight after that you made $100K, and God knows how much you made for this Japanese fight. But the end of the day, let's look at it like this: you, your son got a generous offer to fight Boots at $2 million, and you rejected it. And then you try to call, and then when they try to say, "Hey, you said no, I want to go after this fight." So at the end of the day, the people that want to say Boots ducked this kid, no, this kid ducked Boots. He was using it for clout, and the shit needs to, and the shit, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go, guys. Like seriously, the dude's gonna move up, and that's how it is. And people saying that Boots is asking for two tune-up fights before fighting Virgil. I'm gonna be honest, nothing wrong with it because Virgil had three tune-up fights before fighting Bobacek. And I think people need to just shut the fuck up on it. And if you can't do the same you can't be the same treatment that Boots as you gave Virgil, then I don't give a fuck what you guys feel. Like because the thing about it is, man, no seriously, because the thing about it is they'll do anything to like these American boxing fans. And it's a shame too how American boxing fans can be. Like especially, he doesn't want no part of this guy and everything. Oh, he's asking for two tune-up fights. Virgil Ortiz had three tune-up fights before fighting Sergey Bobacek.
Well, Drew, I'm not sure. Was it three? I definitely know there was two guys. I'll point out, and shout out to my boy Sonteo Media. He's not in the chat, but Sonteo Media from YouTube. He was here in Vegas. Bro, I didn't get a phone call. I didn't even get a DM. Hello. He was here for the Junior Olympics that took place in Las Vegas over the weekend. Sonteo Media sat with me at that fight, that first tune-up fight for Virgil Ortiz at the Virgin Hotel in Las Vegas. Sonteo was with us. That fight lasted all but 1 or 2 rounds, Drew. It was they brought in an African fighter, and it ended in like 2 rounds. It was done with. Not only once, but then he had a second one approximately 5 months later that also went 2 rounds against a nondescript fighter that nobody knew. So you're absolutely correct. Virgil absolutely had at least 2 fights to acclimate to the 154-pound division. For Boots Ennis, who has a lot to lose. He's undefeated. He was a unified champion. He has a lot to lose. Virgil Ortiz, I think, is not even healthy. So, yeah, he has the right. Now,
well, he's already in a fight. He's already been ordered to fight Sergey Bobacek again. And the thing about it is, from what people are saying, Boots is petitioning to the IBF to let him become the mandatory to the IBF title holder.
Well, I like that. He is the IBF champion. That is the correct route to go for Virgil Ortiz. We were at that fight. It was an incredible fight versus Bobacek. Fan-friendly fight. Incredible fight. One of the best fights I've ever seen in Las Vegas. Hopefully it'll be just as good. The second fight will be just as good. Hopefully he will beat him, dominant performance, because I don't think the first one was. I think the first one was quite questionable. Nonetheless, it's going to be a good time at the 154-pound division. Saludos to Linda Hernandez. Wiley, appreciate you being here. Gold member, salute to you. And to the homie F Donuts and everybody around that community. Saludos to you guys. I appreciate you guys for dropping by to say hello, Drew. So should Haney get this fight in the fall? Gold member says the Haneys need to get Brian Norman Jr. drug tested extensively before taking the fight. Of course, you guys know that Devin Haney's a close relationship being a snack fighter, that he will be tested, obviously, and any championship level fight like that, absolutely, I think they need to have comprehensive drug testing. Now, speaking of testing, this story's not that big. I don't think many people are going to talk about it, Drew, but I'll briefly bring it up because I don't know too many details about it. But you remember the Olympics that just happened. Imaine Khalif went and won the gold medal. It was questionable. There was a lot of drama, controversy around whether or not she was actually born male, to which it seemed they've concluded that she was intersex, which is a condition where you're born with both genitalia, and sometimes you develop the dominant male chromosome, which it seemed that she had the chromosome for men, right? Well, according to Seconds Out Boxing, they're demanding that she return the gold medal. They're going to change all the rules, and they are going to require this genetic testing that had she submitted it prior to this tournament, to the Olympic boxing, she most likely would not have been allowed to compete at all. Now, I hear she may be going professional. I don't know what's going to happen with her career, but at the moment, it appears that they are going to be asking for her gold medal back. That's interesting news.
I don't think she's going to be allowed to compete.
Well, if she's not allowed to compete in the Olympics, she should have never been allowed to have competed in the Olympics. What is professional boxing going to do? I don't really know. It's a topic that will have to be discussed at later time, because obviously the professional boxing world will have to come up with, I guess they'll have to look at their own rules and see what's going on. So, Drew, quickly before we get to the main event, which is all these amazing fights this weekend, there was another thing that came out today that you alerted me to, and I found the tweet. This is a strange one, guys, because, well, we're getting ready. All the press conferences are underway for Canelo versus Terrence Bud Crawford. I thought the first ones coming out were actually really, really good. Canelo shit-talking is on another level now. You know, Canelo didn't start off speaking English early in his career, especially in the media. Now he does. But this tweet from Turki Alalshikh, who's putting together the whole thing, you know, Dana White, Zuffa Boxing will be at the head of this promotion for the big Mexican Independence Day fight in Las Vegas right here. Read this tweet. I will be very upset if Berlanga and Zepeda knock out Shiraz and Shakur, which is a fight happening next month in Queens, New York. He says, we have big plans for Shiraz and Shakur, and this result would be a complete disaster. The last time Shiraz fought, he fought Carlos Adames, and he ran up to the ring. Nobody's allowed to run up to the ring. That's against almost every rule. He, as the head promoter, ran up to the ring to give instructions to Shiraz. That was shady. But now now this tweet is kind of strange because, first of all, he's the promoter. He should be open to whatever the results are, you know, win or lose. Understand if you're a fan of both of these fighters, but they're in tough competition. How you going to tell this guy Berlanga and Zepeda not to knock out their opponent? That's the job. That's the job assignment, is to win. If you could win by KO, even better. Not only does it show implicit bias, it's showing bias, but it's starting to make me feel like there could be, you know, we'll talk about this weekend. Even could there still be potential fixing of matches? Could there still be people underneath it all fixing matches?
I think the judges. I think he's getting to the judges. I actually am going to accuse Turki Alalshikh of fixing matches. I just, the way that he acts and everything, the way that he treats, it makes it obvious you're doing something behind the scenes to get the people you want to win the fights and everything. And this is why I said American boxing should not be putting a like into Turki Alalshikh. He is out to rooting American boxing.
Man, it's a strange statement, and I hope there's nothing nefarious in that statement. Now, speaking of the big fight, September 13th, Mexican Independence Day weekend here at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. There's been a lot of Vegas sports news that I would love to cover in depth. One of them, Drew, first and foremost, regarding that fight, this is pretty good. Max Kellerman, who was a favorite of mine on HBO as a commentator, he's back. Not only is he back, but it looks like they're going to assemble the dream team of commentary, the return of HBO Boxing's Max Kellerman and Jim Lampley will be calling this mega fight of the decade, Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford. I'm ecstatic. I love it. I'm happy about this one, Drew. Far superior to what DAZN does. No diss to DAZN. I do like Sergio, but I think this is the right move here to have these two old school commentators calling this mega fight. What about you?
I think it's the best thing you can actually do for the sport is to have them do it. And will it'll probably bring some type of flow back to the sport.
Yeah, so it legitimizes this match. It's definitely not what we're going to get this weekend. This weekend is a crossover event. We've got an aging former champion in boxing who's going to be fighting a YouTube star who's trying to convince us all. Jake Paul's really trying to convince the real boxing the real boxing fans that he's a legitimate fighter now. And it could be at the end of this weekend that if he beats Chavez Jr., we might start actually calling him a real fighter. But, that all remains to be seen. Let me see. Do I got any more news really quickly here on what's going on?
I just retweeted Turki Alalshikh's tweet and said to him, so I'm guessing, so you're having me think now that you're starting that you fix fights.
It's weird. It is definitely weird. One more piece of news here. Beautiful home, guys. I love his couch, man. Shout out to Caleb Plant, Las Vegas local. He guys just performed here. I was at that fight. Caleb Plant just celebrated another baby with his wife, and that's the baby there he posted this week. The baby he was expecting while he fought, well, it's here. So congratulations to Caleb Plant. We'll see what his career still has in store coming off that loss to Armando Resendiz. Any more news that I may have here? I think that's it, man. I think we're going to get right into this big fight weekend. I think it's going to be a big fight weekend. Let's go right at it, man. Let's go right into it. Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez. Here is the tale of the tape. 28 years old, Jake Paul, 39 on the precipice of being a 40-year-old man. Drew, not only is he almost 40, but Holly Holm is making her return. Holly Holm, former MMA champion, former boxing star herself, who hasn't fought in nearly 14 years, I believe. 2012 may have been her last fight. She's back. Wile E. Coyote says that boxing is up against a pretty big UFC card this weekend. I may have to check out the highlights of that one as well, the UFC card. And a lot of people have been asking us, Drew, if we would contemplate talking about the UFC, which I think is not a bad idea. Back in the day when we first started the show, we actually mixed in MMA and boxing casually. The Shoe Shine was, a show about both. I would be open to it if we found the right co-host, a third person who might be more passionate about the UFC.
I'll be honest. I don't watch the UFC like that. I'm not really I think the UFC is not really as big as it was. I think it lost all its legitimate stars now, and I could care less about watching UFC.
Well, there you have it. Drew's not in.
I was a bigger fan of Bellator than the UFC. I'm being honest. I love watching Bellator better than the UFC.
There you have it. Regardless, if there is an opportunity for an MMA panel to come up and put it on this channel, I might myself be interested in it, even if Drew's not into it. But we'll check it out. I'll check out the highlights this weekend. Looking at the tail of the tape, 62 pro fights. 62 pro fights for Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., 54 wins, 6 losses. 1 loss for Jake Paul against Tommy Fury, the half-brother of Tyson Fury. 7 knockouts and 11 wins against mainly former UFC fighters, NBA athletes,
bare knuckle fighters.
Mike Perry, which by the way, he accused Chavez Jr. of being barely any better than Mike Perry. Julio Cesar Chavez told him in that face-off that I'm even better than Tommy Fury. I'm even better than Tommy Fury. That is a very embarrassing loss, Wiley. A very embarrassing loss for Julio Cesar Chavez to lose to
Anderson Silva.
Anderson Silva. Let me quickly look at this box rec. Where did things go wrong for Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Drew? Well, September 12th, Sergio Martinez. This was Mexican Independence Day weekend at the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. Well, that would have been a great fight for me to go to. A fight where he was getting completely dominated. This is after his career-defining moment beating Andy Lee of Ireland for the WBC World Middleweight title. After his incredible, the finest performance Julio Cesar Chavez ever had in his career, in my opinion. Prior to that, he beat Marco Antonio Rubio, a Mexican middleweight. He even beat Peter Manfredo of the Contender. He fought Peter Manfredo. But Sergio Maravilla Martinez, if you want to relive it really quickly, Drew, hopefully we don't get a copyright strike. Let me just quickly show you guys this, because this is basically what I need to see out of Chavez Jr. This was at the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. Wow, spinning. Look at this. Why is it spinning? Damn, I feel like some of those other channels that try to show content and then they have the effed up, they got the effed up spinning thing. Let me see if I can come back to it and get that going. That one right there. Yeah, of course it's going to play the commercial, and that's what it is. 12th round, Drew. He had been losing every round, but somewhere inside the heart of Julio Cesar Chavez. Now, most people, I put the title, is he going to disappoint Raza one more time? Is he going to do it again? Is it going to be...
Yeah, that's all he does is disappoint. Like, he quits. That, like, he's a disgrace to his father's legacy. Like seriously. And then he's doing these fights, making his father's legacy more of a joke. Like, this is a joke. And, like, that's another thing for in American boxing. Like, and then I just got a reply about my statement, and I just got asked, do you think he's going to rob Canelo? I can't say he's going to rob Canelo because we don't know what Canelo's going to show up. Like, this is a 50-50 fight right now because Canelo is somewhat on decline. He didn't look overly great in his last few fights. Even though he was dominant against Berlanga, it wasn't something to be impressed with. And, like, I think people need to just look at it. Terence Crawford, yeah, he had a tough chance against Majimov. Roger Ortiz actually took the fight over against Majimov. Yeah, it was a later on Majimov, but, you know, it's just the same thing. I think if Terence Crawford decides that he's going to stay in the pocket and box Canelo, you don't know how it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So if I see a close decision, if I can see Canelo, if I have it on my card, Canelo, if I have on my card, if I score it that night, Canelo winning 8-4, I can see them giving it to Crawford. Just because Turkey show and everything, I can see it. But I'm still up in the air about if I'm going to change my pick or not to Crawford. Because I do give Terence Crawford a chance to beat Canelo Alvarez now. I just see it as Canelo's on the back nine. And I think people need to start looking at it like that. Oh, we can't look at the Wormscar. Yes, you do have to look at the Wormscar fight. Because let's look at it like this. He could not cut the fucking ring off to save his fucking life.
Okay.
And I think people need to look at that. And look at it. He only won that fight on a lot of people's cards, including mine, because he landed more meaningful punches. Even though I scored at 9-3, he landed more meaningful punches in those fights. He landed one punch more than Skull, but he was out thrown. He was out through in that fight.
Well, let's play devil's advocate just for a moment. I don't even know how we got sidetracked because I'm looking at the box rec of Julio Cesar Chavez. But really quickly, Drew, to play devil's advocate in Terence Crawford's defense, or in Canelo's defense, Terence Crawford didn't look that great against Majimov either. And that was a very questionable win that he just barely eked out. It could be that Terence Crawford is also on the back nine. Let's get back to this maybe after the conversation about Chavez. But go ahead, finish your point, Drew.
The issue is, the other issue that I have with Crawford, he did not take a tune-up fight at 160 at least.
No, he didn't, which is what we talked about earlier, is that your boy Boots Ennis and his team are very cognizant. Look, other fighters, to get acclimated to a new weight class, they take a couple fights that are soft touches, tune-up fights, as they like to call them, or stay busy fights, get the body acclimated to the new weight class. Terrence Crawford is completely jumping over 160, and he jumped into a world title opportunity against a very dangerous, awkward European fighter in Madrimov. He didn't go into a tune-up fight or nothing. He just went right into it, and I thought that making that choice, he did come away victorious in that, but it wasn't a great performance that I'm acclimated. So we don't know. There's a lot of untouchables for the September 13th matchup. But going back to, speaking of Canelo, this is a fight that I believe we first started podcasting. I think, I've had shown pictures of you guys. I sat next to Fernando Vargas' family for the fight in Las Vegas against Canelo Alvarez versus Julio Cesar Chavez, May 17th. It came after Cinco de Mayo. It was at the T-Mobile Arena. But prior to that, after losing to Sergio Martinez, losing his title, the middleweight title, he fought Brian Vera, kind of one of these ESPN Friday night fighters. Fought him twice because the first time was a questionable win. Goes on to fight him again a second time about 6 months later. Then he makes the decision to jump from 160 to light heavyweight against Andre Fonfora. I thought Fonfora was a Polish fighter from Chicago. I'm not right. Was he? Fonfora's Polish? Man, that was that was the beginning, really, of the unwinding. The first one was Sergio Martinez, but his career really started to unwind when he let everybody down. What appeared to be quitting on the stool when he took a beatdown from Fonfora at the Carson StubHub, what do they call that place? The StubHub Center in Carson, California. Now it's got a new name anyways, the stomping grounds or whatever they call it. Anyways, that was like the beginning of the end because he fought two guys after that trying to rebuild his career again, only to melt down to fight Canelo Alvarez and take a 12-round ass whooping. Probably the biggest fight that I can recall my entire life, coming to Las Vegas as a tourist. I didn't live here yet, spending big money to have incredible seats to see a really shitty fight and a performance where it looked like Chavez Jr. was just there for a fucking payday. It was dreadful. It was one of the worst performances. And I was like, I put it in the title, guys. How many times is Chavez Jr. going to disappoint the Mexican and Mexican-American, the Raza community? He's let us down over and over again. It doesn't stop there.
And the issues of his weight issues of making weight during fights came to things too, because those fights, he didn't make weight. They had to renegotiate the weight of that fight because he missed weight by 4 pounds.
Wow.
In 2 of his losses, he missed weight by 4 pounds and say, hey, we got to do a catch rate, or we can call the fight off and everything. They're like, all right, we do it, but he's got to give us at least $200K of his purse. And it was agreed upon, and then they whooped his ass still.
After the Canelo Alvarez fight, he goes on to fight a guy, I don't even remember this fight, Everett Bravo. He fights him in Mexico, kind of to rebuild the confidence all over again. I don't even remember what fucking weight class. 10 losses on Everett Bravo's record. He comes away victorious to set him up for a big fight against Daniel Jacobs, former world champion Danny Jacobs, in Phoenix. Shout out to everybody in the Phoenix area. That was at the Talking Stick Resort Arena in Phoenix. Chavez Jr., the main event. I can remember that fight because it reminds me, watching it on TV, reminds me of when Canelo fought El Perro Angulo, a Mexican fighter, where the crowd was so disgusted with Angulo's performance that they started throwing their beer. And at the time, I don't even remember. I think they actually, in those days, Drew, they allowed at the MGM Grand to actually have beer bottles, because I remember beer bottles flying over our freaking heads. People were so pissed off. Well, that exact thing happened in Phoenix, Arizona, December 19th. Daniel Jacobs, he quits on the fucking stool again after 5 rounds. And everybody in Phoenix decides that they are going to launch their water bottles or wherever in their hand is at Cesar Chavez in Phoenix, nonetheless. A largely Mexican fan base throwing their shit at how disgusted they were at him. Which brings us to where he ends up today, which is a fighting fringe contender guys like Cazares in Tijuana. Loses that one. immediately after that, right? Then he fights Jason Minda. Don't even know who that guy is. Anderson Silva loses to an MMA champion.
Oh, that was a boxing lesson taught by Silva. He really outboxed Chavez. It was an easy work.
Gold members, shout out to you. He says, Jake Paul don't care if he wins or loses. He already won on setting up a brand as a promoter. MVP will be up there with the likes of Matchroom Queen, Golden Boy, PBC, Top Rank. Let's maybe include Zuffa Boxing, which is the new outfit with the MMA outfit. Gold member, I kind of agree with you. And even then, Drew, even yesterday, I caught Chavez Jr. kind of agreeing with this gold member. Chavez Jr. in the face-off was like, it doesn't fucking matter to this guy if he loses because he's already got built up so much wealth and success in other areas that, like you said, you're still going to be a promoter.
I gotta disagree. And
Okay.
I'm gonna say why I gotta disagree. Women fighters don't make shit compared to male fighters, and you gotta see the promoters takes 10%, I believe, of a fighter's purse. So you're not gonna get like his best chance at a big income is a Serrano Taylor fight, but you would think Serrano's only making at most 1.5 in the Katie Taylor fights. So, and Bongano is probably making a couple 100,000, if lucky. It depends on who she's fighting. Like the women's purses, if you look at it, Jake Paul will make pennies on the dollar in his 10%. It's not. He has to get a legitimate name, male fighter I'm talking about, a legitimate male fighter in his stable, other than himself as a marketing tool. And right now, yeah, he's making a name for himself as a women's promoter, but you're not going to make the money as a promoter long term doing that. That's why I disagree with it.
All right. Fair enough. Drew, I came across this. This was rather gross, but comedic at the same time. I don't know where Oscar's going with this. Let's quickly listen to Oscar's picks for this weekend. Of course, that's a mega fight. We also have Deontay Wilder. Briefly going to mention him. We've got that fight. That's going to be a pay-per-view. I would not recommend buying that. Christian and Billy, a super middleweight fighting a legitimate fighter in Sulecki. That's a very interesting fight, one that I will be paying close attention to. And of course, they said that we've got some MMA action. The UFC's got a good card. Let's take a listen to the Golden Boy. And don't be surprised or shocked by what I'm going to show you guys. I've actually fast forward to something you probably didn't want to see. Let's take a listen here.
All right, guys. Raul Curiel, Victor Rodriguez. Both guys are undefeated, fighting for a world title eliminator. Who do I got? Raul Curiel.
Of course, Raul Curiel is his fighter. He's undefeated, and I believe he's a Mexican Olympian, right? So
Late stoppage, great fight. Floyd Schofield, Tevin Farmer, youth versus experience. I've got Floyd by late stoppage, and a new star is born.
Floyd Schofield, shout out to his mom, Drew. Floyd Schofield, who did not appear to fight. I mean, he made his trip to Saudi Arabia, but did not come through fighting in an opportunity of a lifetime to fight Shakur Stevenson. They thought, it looked like he was going to fight our boy from Canada, and that fight did not materialize. He's a Jake Paul fighter, and that fight didn't materialize. So I think he's actually going to be fighting an even tougher fight in former world champion Tevin Farmer. But here's the deal with my thoughts on this fight, Drew. Tevin Farmer has been in some very tough fights. Since that fight where I saw him fight Raymond Murataya in Las Vegas at the Palms Casino about a year and a half ago, he's had nothing but tough fights. He's had two ridiculously, incredibly hard fights against William Zepeda. He had a hard fight against Raymond Murataya. Is that going to take something away from Tevin Farmer now? His competition and Floyd Schofield, he's had, he fought one Mexican guy who dropped him, but he's had a lot of time off, man. He's well rested. He's very young. I kind of feel like Tevin Farmer has been in he's had some really hard assignments and been on the shit end of the judges. I think this might be an opportunity for Floyd Schofield to beat a former world champion, an older guy, and it's actually going to be a harder test than fighting the undefeated Canadian fighter, Lucas Badi. But what does Drew think? I think this is an opportunity for Floyd to come away with a very tough win, and Oscar thinks so too. What do you think, Drew?
Oh, man, where can... Okay, 150 plus 155. Let's see.
You look at the odds, it's very close. A lot of these fights on that card are not close odds. This one is close, but in favor of Floyd Schofield.
Wow. 10 former by... All right, let's do it right now. So I'm going to pick Tevin Farmer is going to win this fight. Tevin Farmer is going to upset Floyd Schofield. I think Tevin Farmer is going to put this kid in deep waters.
Oh yeah, most definitely he is.
And I think this kid's is gonna panic. Because Tevin Farmer has one more big performance left in him.
And you think this is it?
And this is the one.
All right. Well, Drew, I'm 50-50 on this one. The odds are in favor of young Floyd Schofield. Again, one thing that I'll take away from Fonzie and I were at that last fight. We got to hang with his mother and sit with Floyd Schofield's mom again. Shout out to her. What I noticed in the fight against Mexican fighter Giron was that he wasn't listening to his dad when his dad was calling for him to make adjustments. It was like it was going in one ear and out the other. If things get rough for young Floyd Schofield this Saturday and he doesn't listen to his dad when there is a need to make some vital adjustments midway through the fight, it could end up going south for him really quickly. If he can listen to his dad and make the adjustments, and again, Tevin Farmer is an extremely well-schooled former champion who has different levels to his game. He brings a ton of experience. He brings some losses those losses, like I said, they could have gone either way. It's going to be a hard night at the office. Let's listen to a little bit more of Oscar because this is a stack card.
Zurdo Ramirez, unified world champion, taking on Torticos, the #1 contender. Who will win? In an all-out war, Ramirez will end it with a 4th-round knockout. All right, Jake Paul.
Drew, this one's easier for me to call. I've seen Torticos fight. I've seen Zurdo Ramirez fight plenty of times. I don't think there's anything that's going to stop him in the division to unify. I'm talking about Ramirez, with the exception of the best fighter in the entire division, which is the Australian Samoan, Jai Opataya. I think that's it. I think other than that, Zurdo Ramirez beats everybody. I think he's coming away victorious, which leads me to this, Drew. He's saying he's open to fighting as a voluntary defense, Jake Paul, if Jake Paul wins this fight Saturday night, the main event. And the sanctioning bodies, I think most likely the WBC, remember the WBC is from Mexico, they're going to fucking say, guess what? Jake Paul is now ranked. He is now a top 15 fighter, which makes him eligible for a mandatory defense, one that the fighter can pick. And it looks like it's going to happen, man. If Jake Paul gets past, if Chavez Jr. disappoints all of the Mexican fan base once again, we're going to get Zurdo Ramirez versus Jake Paul, which might not be a bad thing, Drew, because let's be honest, Zurdo Ramirez is going to beat the shit out of Jake Paul. But what does Drew think?
Yeah, it's probably going to happen.
It's probably going to happen. Well, let's just jump to his main event prediction, and I'll ask you for your main event prediction.
Chavez Jr., experience or ambition? After a back-and-forth battle, Jake Paul edges it with a split decision in the 12th. June 28th from...
in the 12th round. He really thinks Jake Paul's going to go 12 rounds. Don't forget to hit that, smash that like button. Guys, I appreciate everybody that's watching the show with us. Make sure you reach out to your friends. As I said, we changed the format. We're now not vertical, we're horizontal, which means naturally is going to be a drop in live viewers. Leave us a comment if you watch it on the replay, guys. Drew, I'm sorry I had to subject everybody to nasty Oscar showing his junk in American flag stripper underwear. Lord knows who put him through that. Lord can only imagine who is telling him to dress like that in these skits. Who's winning the main event? And I'll give you the odds too right now. I'll give you the DraftKings odds. Who's winning, Drew?
I think Jake Paul is going to get it. I think Chavez is going to quit.
Oh, that's fucking embarrassing. Floyd Schofield versus Tevin Farmer. I mentioned it. According to DraftKings, Floyd Schofield is the favorite, negative 195. If you bet $100 on Tevin Farmer, you'll get your $100 plus $155 back. Raul Curiel of Mexico, I believe he's an Olympian. That is Oscar's fighter. He's a negative 1,400 favorite. That tells you a lot. Holly Holmes, negative 1,100 favorite against Yolanda Vega. Holly Holmes making her return to professional boxing. Joel Iriarty, a negative 8,000. See, another showcase fight. And in the main event, Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez. Jake Paul is currently sitting at a negative 575 favorite. Damn, $100 will get you $400 back if you bet on Julio Cesar Chavez for the upset. That's crazy. If you're a fan of California fighters, guys, make sure you tune in early because Avina is a fighter from Manteca, California, Northern California. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does as a prospect for Golden Boy. Shout out to Avina from Manteca, California, Northern Cali fighter who will be on the card. All right, we salute him and his team out there. Wiley Coyote says, Holly Holm is also a real estate agent. I did not know that, but I know she's a New Mexico, and I've got a lot of, my wife and I would love to visit. We want to visit New Mexico and check out some of those smaller towns because they look like incredible places to relocate. And I'll say this, if you're into homes, Drew, the construction in New Mexico is fucking insane, dude. Like, for the price of what I paid for my new home in Las Vegas, the amount of quality of craftsmanship in New Mexico home builders blows my mind. I mean, for the exact same price, you're getting a fucking complete high-end home. It's unreal. I actually subscribe to a couple of New Mexico real estate channels, and it's unbelievable because, first of all, materials cost the same everywhere in this country. So I don't even know what they pay their builders, their tradesmen in New Mexico. It's unreal.
I don't think New Mexico would be for me.
It might not be for me either. I've never even been there, but she's from Albuquerque, so shout out to her. She'll be making her return to the ring. Drew, Deontay Wilder is back in action this week. He is one win away from a title opportunity again. He's also 40. Now, he posted this. He's going to be performing on a smaller promotional outfit. He's no longer with PBC. He says, I had to take
And he split from Malik Scott.
Yeah. He's on his own. He says, I had to take a wellness check for my career and my life in general. I sought a sports psychologist. I didn't tell my team about anything because in my mind, I wanted to say that I was strong enough to get myself back together without anyone noticing anything. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case and I needed help. After my last fight, I understood that something was wrong. I am so much better now with my mindset, mentally, physically, emotionally. I'm physically healthy and I have my mental health back too. A lot has happened to me, but God is good. I am ready to go. Deontay Wilder on his mental health. Drew, this is what I want to say. There's a stigma in this country with men seeking help for mental health issues. As someone who has a brother, now I don't want to throw my brother under the bus, but someone... Well, there's a lot of instances of mental health problems in my family, mental illness, and it's no laughing matter. In fact, Drew, I just found out that yesterday, a female YouTuber, oh, Drew, your allergies are bad. A female YouTuber with 2 million subscribers committed suicide yesterday. She had a channel about animal rescue, a very popular channel, over 2 million subscribers, passed away from suicide. because of online trolling. 2 million subscribers. Do not be afraid to reach out. You know what I'm saying? Like, something tragically just happened here in Las Vegas, Drew. I've been on the phone with a lot of people over those past 2 weeks. And I'll tell you, man, that sometimes people don't do it these days, but just picking up the phone and extending out a phone call or having someone reach out to you can be incredibly therapeutic. You do not know what other people are going through unless you put yourself in their shoes. Unless you can have empathy and put yourself for 1 fucking minute in someone else's shoes, you don't know what other people are going through. Deontay DMT Wilder, we did a show about that, Drew. DMT, he thought going to Brazil or whatever country he did to do DMT, which is something that I remember Chicano Prophet was like, we're going to go do DMT. I still think I might benefit from DMT. I might have some realizations, or I might come to that might benefit me. But do not be afraid as a man to look at your partner, look at your friend, look at your mom and say, I think I need help. It's okay. It's fucking okay. The stigma needs to be put away. That being said, his opponent this weekend, Drew, this is guy Herendon. Herendon is a guy who was knocked out by the Mexican silver medalist on Top Rank. What's his name? Richard Torres Jr.?
Yeah.
God bless you, Drew. We'll wrap up the show really shortly, guys. He's going to get his ass beat. Herendon is getting knocked out. He is set up to lose. And Deontay Wilder may get an opportunity. This is going to be very interesting what happens this summer with the Usyk rematch this summer. But Deontay Wilder may finally get in late stage of his career, another opportunity to become a world champion. Could be incredible. So again, guys, there's one more fight this weekend. I'm actually excited about this one, Joe. I'm talking about Christian Mbili, super middleweight contender, top contender. A lot better than the fucking guy Canelo Alvarez just fought on Cinco de Mayo. Christian Mbili makes his return against Sulecki. What are your thoughts on this fight?
Mbili should win, but it might be a rough fight for the first 5 rounds. So I am picking Mbili, though, by knockout.
Christian Mbili, just a fight or two away from getting a world title opportunity, in my opinion, against Canelo. But, Canelo signed a contract with Turki Alalshikh, and it doesn't seem like Christian Mbili is going to be one of these people on the great Canelo Alvarez calling list. This came out this week that at the top of the list for Turki Alalshikh is a potential matchup with none other than this dude right here, Chris Eubanks Jr., who has a rematch coming up with Conor Benn. That was a fucking good fight. Excuse my language, guys. That was a great fight. I don't know. Christian Mbili could knock out Sulecki this weekend, stop him, and may still be very far away from a title opportunity, even if he is a top contender. David Benavidez sat around as a top contender for how many years and didn't get his opportunity against Canelo? Yeah, you feel me? By the way, speaking of David Benavidez, guys, his brother Jose Benavidez, I think I was at that last fight. Suspended. 9 months, Drew. Cocaine. 9 months.
I guess old family habits is breaking hard.
It's like I said, guys, if you think you guys have a problem, man, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody and get the help you need. Really, there's too much of a stigma with men not getting the proper mental health that they need taken care of, or substance abuse issues. So, substance abuse issues hit everybody. You could be the richest person, you could be poor, and you could be suffering from a combination of mental health issues that lead to substance abuse issues. They go hand in hand. I'm Dave in the 702 Philly Irish Drew Evo. Drew, you think maybe we'll be come back next Monday? Make sure you guys hit that bell notification. We'll do a recap next Monday if we can, back at our normal hours, providing everything is good. And keep that notification on, because I still might go live Friday after the weigh-ins for the Chavez Jr. fight. Drew, any final words?
Not offhand.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Leave a comment if you guys like Drew's new setup. We're working to improve the show. Leave us a comment. Let us know how we can improve the show. Until next time, peace out, everybody.